Hi there, welcome to FMCG by Alex. Today I would like to discuss with you how to build a distributor network. So before appointing distributors, you need to make sure they're suitable for you. First up, think about what they need to do for you. So geographic coverage, what area would they need to cover for you? Is it a city? Is it a number of cities? Is it a province? Is it a country? Anything in between, basically. Then the channels they need to go to. So should it be modern trade? Should it be general trade? Should it be HoReCa food service? Maybe you want them to go into specialty channels, specialist retailers, basically. Medical channel, that is another one. So think very carefully about, are they going at this moment to these channels? Are they able to cover the channel for you? If they're not bringing anything else, then that is basically superfluous. They are not able to do that for one product. They're not able to start. Then financial strength. Financial strength of a distributor is very important to consider. So you might start with a small distributor because if you're small yourself, you need to start with who wants to have you, who wants to work with you, who wants to grow with you. That's one of the things you need to keep in mind. So financial strength can initially be, can they pay you? But also, can they expand to cover a bigger area, for example? If you give exclusivity to someone and they sit on an area that they're not covering 100%, that's financial strength that comes into play. Linked to that is operational strength. So are they able to really do what you want them to do? Do they have enough salespeople? Do they have enough trucks to deliver the product? How strong are they operationally? Is it the owner directly to the salespeople, or are there managers, are there supervisors, are there links in the chain that make it more efficient and more easy for you to influence how they distribute your product? And then last but not least, this is actually covering a little bit on the operational strength, but also the channel coverage. Other brands they distribute. So are they bringing other brands in the same category as you? Competing brands is a no-no, but let's say complementary brands. So are they distributing fast-moving items to supermarkets? Now, then they probably are very strong in the supermarkets. Are they doing very good business in the general trade or the HoReCa food service? Yeah. With certain products, then you have a very good foothold in there because they already go there. They already have fast-moving items. They have a very big frequency and a very good relationship with the channels, basically. So how do you actually find a distributor? Initially, you might not be able to work with the big guys. You need to work with a smaller distributor or someone who's at least hungry enough and has an empty spot in their roster, basically, to give you a chance. That is basically the starting point for a lot of small brands. The way to find these guys is, first of all, a reference from colleagues. So you have friends who work in the industry and say, hey, do you have someone you have a good experience with, someone you have a relationship with, someone you can introduce me to? The same goes for other distributors. If you already work with one, they might bring other brands and they have like an annual gathering of distributors that they can introduce you to friends of theirs who also distribute other brands in other cities, basically, or in other channels. Then market survey, is what I call the reverse engineering method, basically. So if you don't know anything about a city or an area that you need to cover, first you basically go to retailers and say, who is distributing this to you? Which brands are strong? You can see from a market survey, hey, this has a very good distribution in this city. You can see what is actually the distributor behind it. Who is the distributor behind it? Now, then you get some references from retailers. Also, a very valuable way to reverse engineer it. That's the proof is in the pudding, as they call it. And last but not least, the internet search. So basically, just Google it. So distributor and then city. Now, then you get a list. Usually, these companies are the most visible ones. The most visible ones, not always the best ones. That's the downside of it. It can have a beautiful website, but maybe operationally they're not the best distributor out there. The way you present yourself is, of course, a way to be found. So when you find a distributor, you need to work towards a commercial agreement. So normally margins are between 5 and 15%, depending really on what they need to do for you. So let's say at the lower end, you will take care of certain costs. For example, you might pay for the entire sales force, then the distributor only gets like a 5% margin, and that's basically the cost of taking stock and renting their warehouse, etc. That's more like a 3PL, third-party logistics company, rather than a distributor. You just run your distribution. On the higher end, 15% means you have yeah, maybe the smaller brands need to go with a higher percentage. The bigger brands can already squeeze the distributors a little bit to 10% or lower. That's the rule of the game. Normally, the rule here is stock turns or margin. So if you stock turns, meaning how quickly can a distributor sell through the stock that they buy, the cash conversion. So cash conversion cycle is actually very fast. Yeah, then you can do with a lower margin. And if it's a product that still is a bit slower or slow moving, yeah, then you need to give a higher margin as a principle. Then the bad stock policy, that is something you need to arrange in the contract as well. That means like anything returnable. So if they get returns from retail, what happens if things expire? What happens if things are broken? What happens basically? Then, of course, now, like we said in the previous slide, the area coverage, which area and which channel coverage, basically you agree with them. That can be anything you can think of. Then listing and support. So when they are starting to sell your product, they need to list it in modern retail or in various channels. That can have a fee. So that fee is something that normally is paid for by the principal. Then, of course, a sales target, because yeah, you want to be my distributor. I give you 15% margin, but I need you to do $1 million in sales this year. Now, that's basically one of the examples of a sales target. Against that sales target, you also are measuring them. So you are monitoring that monthly, maybe every half year, every year. At the end of the year, they need to achieve that, and then there can be some sort of conditional bonus, basically. So this 5 to 15% can also be a fixed and a conditional or performance-based component can be included. Then, last but not least, the exclusivity part of the contract. So can be exclusive, can be non-exclusive. Normally in FMCG, exclusive contracts for area coverage are usual, but there are also companies that do, let's say, a certain channel non-exclusively, but that is usually very for the very fast-moving items and for very big companies where yeah, the bigger principals are simply not able to effectively cover the channel they want to cover through their regular distributor, and they add another non-exclusive distributor. So you've sat down, you've negotiated it, you have gone through all the ins and outs of the contract, and then you get started. You get started first with the first purchase order. The first purchase order is the first order that they need to have in to fill the channel. That is normally what they call pipelining. Pipelining is, in essence, a bigger order than a regular order. So yeah, don't dance on the table yet. Like, hey, I've got a very big purchase order for the first time. Let's see what we can do per month. That's just to load the channel, so to speak. Then after that, you need to do repeat orders, basically seeing if the traction is there, if there's repeat from the channel, repeat from the retailers, basically. Then you need to determine where to list first. So sometimes when you don't have proof yet that your product has traction, it's maybe very expensive to say, hey, there are 100 local modern outlets in a city. Let's list in all 100 and see what happens. No, you pick out maybe 5 to 10 or 20 to start with. So you have a roster to actually go down. Where to list first, that's normally, if it doesn't sell there, it doesn't go ever, basically. So that's the rule of thumb. Then you need to arrange product knowledge training, because when you send out salespeople to sell for you, yeah, they need to know what. So why is this product something that this retailer needs to stock? Why is it better than something that the competition is offering? So this is the product knowledge training. What am I selling and how do I sell it? Basically, can involve some selling training as well. Then to push it along, you need to do a market visit. So that can be initial. So the initial push, let's try and go do the listing myself, for example, or you need to go with the salespeople. You need to have a little bit of hype, because if salespeople go out and the first 5 times they say, "Oh no, no, no," the customer doesn't want it. They are not really interested in this product. Yeah, then the spirit will sink, basically, and it will be very, very difficult to get that back up. So sometimes it's not due to the product; it's just bad luck. So a market visit is usually the principal who's sending people, or the management of the principal actually going there themselves to help push it along. And it's advisable to do that, every month, every quarter, every half year, every year, basically, depending on the frequency of the distributor, basically. So you meet the owner, you meet the team, you go out in the market, and you see what's happening. You see also what are the objections of the retailers who need to stock it, and you know walk a mile in the shoes of the salespeople, basically. Highly advised a market visit. I hope this helped to shed some light on how to set up a distributor network. Please keep in mind that if you're a starting company, like a small medium enterprise, Webcam in Indonesia, and you haven't designed your pricing strategy to include a distributor price, so you have the consumer buying price, the retail buying price, and the lowest one is the distributor buying price. The distributor buying price needs to be calculated into your pricing. So even if you're doing the distribution yourself still, it's best to keep provisions for the distributor. Thank you very much for your attention. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.